Hello, and welcome to Teaching My Cat to Read, the very serious book review podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Em.
And I'm Lottie. And this week we're discussing everything about small gods in a special mini episode.
That's right.
You gotta do it.
You gotta do the jingle gnome. You gotta do the jingle gnome. For those who don't know, we're sprinkling this series with some mini episodes, which are short episodes with questions that we didn't ask before in the full episode. So today we're talking about small gods, which we reviewed in full in series 1. And yeah, I think we'll kick this off with our fave question: mansplain, manipulate, male wife.
Yeah, one of our favourite bits that we introduced since we did the full episode. Which characters in this book best embody the qualities, the fundamental and cosmic qualities of mansplaining, manipulation, and being a male wife?
Do you know what? I'm a bit concerned that we are critically lacking in male wives at this time.
Oh no!
I think the one lack.
The supply chain shortage has got us. Male wife shortage.
It is, yeah. I mean, I think that Brother could potentially grow up to be male wife material
with effort,
maybe. But I think it's much more likely he's going to aim for himbo.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
I mean, if we're picking an archetype, I think that's where he's headed. I don't think we have a single male wife.
I would argue that himbo is a component of male wife, but I think... I don't know. Here's the thing. We don't see him interact with any women, do we?
No, I don't.
No,
Are there any women in this book?
Are there women in this book?
I
can't believe
in the
women
background,
here.
like an extra, but I think that's it.
Yeah, well, he talks about his nan sometimes,
That's
right?
true. Yeah.
But that's sort of it. Oh, and there's, I guess, the Sea Queen as well, like the goddess that smites their boat at one point.
That's a good... Yeah, there's insofar as you can call female goddesses women and not, secret god gender.
Yes.
Yeah. I feel like we don't know
I'm
enough...
going to come out here with a curveball here.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out here with a curveball. Do you remember the strange hallucinating hermit man who lived on top of a pillar?
Vaguely.
In general?
Male wife.
Oh, not in this book, not just, the one that lives in my head. Okay.
Yeah, no, the one specific to this book about which we are recording a podcast. That one.
That one.
I'll take it.
But yes,
I think
male wife.
We got to make do with what Pratchett has given us in this book for male wives, and if that's what we've got, then that's what we'll take.
That's what we've got. Yeah, it's an undomestic goddess kind of vibe, you know.
Manipulate is obviously Vorbis.
Yes,
and I would posit that tries to manipulate, but he is not very good at it.
He tries.
His manipulation is primarily limited to if I don't mention anything about how gods work, maybe Brother, this very stupid boy, will not notice that I can't stop being a tortoise, and also nobody else believes in me, and that means that my entire existence is dependent on him.
He's manipulating him in the same way that Wile E. Coyote is running. When he runs off the edge of the canyon.
Yeah.
It's based on a hope and a dream.
A hope and a dream.
Who's mansplain, do we think?
See, because I feel like that's sort of Vorbis as well. A little bit.
The thing is, because we don't have any women, they can only splain, all the characters in this book can only splain to each other.
Yeah.
So...
It's like the inside of Vorbis' head. It's just this constant echo chamber of
Yeah.
I don't know. I wonder if the guy at the beginning, the one who... So we've had the whole, tortoise has fallen from the sky, it's tried to talk to Brother, Brother's run away and is sort of making panicked praying motions about, hearing demons and the guy that's sort of his boss, I guess?
His next superior.
Yeah, sort of comes up and is like, were the demons talking to you?
Oh, poor simple brother. Oh, yes.
Yeah. But he's very they can only be this one specific kind of demon that talks to you about the voluptuousness of women and things, which is very much not what's happening to Brother.
That's another contender for the closest we get to having women in this book.
Oh my god.
I will also accept
terrible.
that as mansplaining. Sort of Church of Omsplaining.
I don't know, I feel like you could gender bend Didactylos and not lose...
I would say not only you could, but you should.
It's a moral imperative.
We can, must, and will gender bend this old dude.
But okay, so I think we're satisfied on the M's. But
we are.
Gaslight, gatekeep, girl boss?
Is brother girl boss?
Is there anybody to be a girl boss? I don't know. Or is it the embodiment of the girl boss vibes?
If we're girl boss purists, is girl boss dependent on gender, or is it a
Well,
state
here's the
of
thing.
mind?
Brother is my baby girl, so he can be a girl boss if he wants.
But is he a boss, though?
He goes on to be one. Like the epilogue where he's like super old.
Yes, I will give you that.
Begrudgingly.
I'm still skeptical about his ability to be a girl boss.
Okay.
Do I think he's baby girl? Yes, absolutely. Do I think he's a boss? Also, girl boss?
Okay, is Vorbis girl boss? I think Vorbis is girl boss.
Do you know what? I think Vorbis is actually all of them.
Did Vorbis effectively make use of girl power?
I think Vorbis is the whole package. I think he's gaslight, gatekeep,
He's all of them
and girl
in
boss.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Vorbis, all of them.
I mean, I think the Ephebians could be candidates for gatekeep in the terms of they have a massive off labyrinth filled with traps, which feels very gatekeepy.
Yeah. I think sort of almost epitomises it. I think the labyrinth itself might be gatekeep. Best and worst roommate in this book. I think Vorbis would be the worst, because he's the kind of guy that, you know, you'd be out of milk and you'd use a little bit of his milk and he'd know and he'd be pissy with you.
Yeah.
Whereas M can confirm we live together and like none of us is that housemate.
No. Nobody is a milk thief.
I think Vorbis is very much the like everything is in its exact place at all times. Actually, I am a milk thief. Sorry, I'm tuned back into the. I am a milk thief.
Whenever my spouse's parents come over, I forget that their dad has coffee with milk, and so I'm always just like, I've got to steal milk from a housemate because I don't keep it in.
Well, my parents get very like, you know, they need milk in their tea when they visit. But no, what tends to happen with me is that the milkman forgets where our house is because our house is apparently impossible to find, and I end up stealing from our housemates. Soy milk supply, the soy milk stash, in order to make my tea drinkable. Anyway, that's not the point. That's not the point of this. We will leave the milk theft alone. But yeah, no, I think Vorbis is the kind of housemate where it's like he has everything just so. And he never says anything necessarily when you put a hair out of line, but you can feel him noticing it.
And he'd be so exacting. It
sends a shiver of terror down your spine.
He'd be so exacting about what was and wasn't his responsibility, like litigious about it, you know? Well, actually, I left one piece of paper on the loo roll, so I don't have to change it. Yeah. You know, he'd be that guy.
Although actually says that I am the specialist little boy ever, and therefore I am allowed to do my vivisection experiments on the kitchen table.
Yes. I still think Vorbis would be worse, I'll be honest. Besides, my parents have a tortoise. He's a perfectly pleasant little dude. As far as I know, he's not a god, but he's a perfectly fine member of the household.
Yeah. See, I do think for hilarity value. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah.
I'm very sleepy.
I'd say hilarity.
Humour value.
For being funny.
Jokes.
Yeah, I think you need somebody with that like kind of humour as a roommate, you know? Like,
well, see, I think it's not. I don't think he can take a joke, but I do think it would be extremely funny when you make minor infractions of the roommate code to have a tiny tortoise look up at you from your foot and start yelling, "Smite you with thunderbolts!"
Yeah.
About like having left the toilet seat up or whatever.
Yeah.
This is another problem we don't actually have in this house, and I'm just stealing from like
past
sitcom
houses.
Stereotypes.
Well, here's the thing: the sitcom of your roommate is a tortoise who is a god. That's got legs. There's a concept there.
Right.
Yeah. If someone wants to write that as a fanfic and send it to us, go for it.
Well, what will happen?
That's a whole other podcast.
teaching my tortoise housemate to be a person. Our companion podcast to teaching my cat to read.
Definitely.
Teaching my tortoise god housemate how not to leave the toilet seat up.
I'm just like picturing recreating like plots from old episodes of Friends, but like the main two characters are some dude and a tortoise.
Yeah.
Like,
did we ever, on the original episode, ask who got the F-bomb? I don't think we did. I kind of want to give it to Death.
Maybe. I think it would be funny to give it to somebody else just as has been building up to it.
Oh,
and they steal it.
Okay, yeah, that's a good shout, yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he gets so mad about it.
Yeah, he's got this, like, piece that he's saying, and somebody just, like, steals it from him at the last moment.
Yeah.
And then he has to use, like, a minced oath.
Yeah, he's like, oh, you got the quota.
Yeah.
I don't know that the Film Standards Authority or whoever it is that assigns the F-bombs to the whichever rated film. Is it 12s?
13s,
where they get one
I think.
F-bomb, or is it
because do you remember in First Class, is it, where they try and go and recruit Wolverine and he tells them to f*** off? But he gets the single in the whole movie.
Yeah.
I mean, see, yeah, I think is characteristically, I feel like is if we were going to give an F-bomb to Death, I don't think I'd do it in this book. I think I'd do it in one of his books.
I think I'd do it in, like, which one is it where he takes a holiday? Is it Reaper Man?
Yeah, Reaper Man.
I mean, Reaper Man's not so much a holiday as forced retirement.
Yeah, like, where he's trying to be a person, and he's like, I think I shall try out this
farmer.
swearing thing, and he ponderously just sort of goes, as if to try it out.
I've just been listening to all the other audiobooks for Discworld since we did Hogfather on the podcast, and I'm like slowly making my way through all the Death books, and they're being read by Nigel Planer. Anyway, and he's got the best Death voice. Like, it's just very long and monotonous, and it does feel like capital letters in spoken form. Excellent. I'm like, yeah, okay.
That's what you want.
I agree. If Death's getting the F-board, he gets it in his own book rather than in Small Gods.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I'm trying to think, like, because in his book so often there's, like, a little goof where he'll be, like, something completely normal trips him up. And then I feel like him... I don't know, if the pillow stuffing of his stomach falls out in Hogfather. Which is the quietest little small cat.
Or when he gives the child a tiny sword. Like...
somebody else is saying at that point.
Yeah, I think that is...
This is Alfred telling him that ponies don't just appear in kitchens, and Death sort of going,
what are you doing? But yeah.
Okay, we have digressed. I mean, I do think is the most likely candidate, but also it's funnier if it's not him.
Yeah, or it's funnier if he gets frustrated by it not being him.
I wonder if it's what when he hits a sun god over the head with a cornucopia towards the end.
Oh no, I know what would be funny.
The sun god says
I know what would be funny is he uses it up right at the beginning as he's falling from the sky. Like, as he gains consciousness with proximity to Brother, he just starts screaming. And then for the rest of the book, he can't swear because he's used it up. He blew it.
It's like the complete opposite from the whales in Hitchhiker's Guide. Like the complete opposite vibes. Like, listen, Petunia. Oh, this is just wonderful. It's like the complete 180 of that, and all he does is just the F word.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's fitting. That's fitting because I feel like that scene is the spiritual counterpart to the falling whale and begonia situation.
I want like an Emperor's New Groove style adaptation of this book where it opens with falling and halfway through it's record scratch. Bet you're wondering how I ended up here.
Yeah.
Oh, because I tell you what, that's also really fitting because him keeping coming in with the crayon to remind you that the story's about him and not Brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
very in character.
Yeah. Oh. Now I want to go and get good at drawing so I can do, like, fake screen caps from this movie that I've now invented. This
Seriously,
adaptation.
Like, we are killing it on the content creation today. We should be optioning this to... I'm saying film words. I don't know how you get people to make these things. But we're having so many good ideas today.
Guillermo,
we're on fire.
my man Del Toro, if you're interested, just hit me up, right?
Yeah, some, like, famous screenwriter that happens to listen to our podcast and thinks, oh, this is a good idea. You know, just give us a credit at the end. Just a little shout out. But that's fine. Yeah. You know.
Well, when we're all millionaires from that.
Any other final questions we want to ask for Small Gods? That's our final question for the mini-app.
I don't have a question, I'm so excited to do more Discworlds as we continue.
It's Guards we're doing this season, right?
Yes. We're recording out of order because we're gremlins whose lives are super hectic.
Yes.
It comes out after.
Okay. But yes, having done Guards, I'm super excited to keep reading more Pratchett because there's so much of it and I love it so much.
Yes, no, I'm very excited. I mean, the fact that we've done both Small Gods and Hogfather and
now Guards.
We did Hogfather in series 2, so you can go and look that up, and also Small Gods obviously in Series 1. If you're thinking, oh, where can I go and find links for all this? They're on the website. I've made a whole page. It's wonderful.
Alternatively, just go to Spotify and you hit the little download button at the top of this, and you'll just get all of our episodes, which is obviously what you want.
Just follow us and then subscribe to us on your podcast platform, because then you'll get all the episodes.
And then listen to all of our content on repeat, fall asleep to it, dream about it.
Share it with your friends, send it on a pigeon. Like,
make them listen to it.
Carry a pigeon. You know, just
invite them over for a party, lock the doors and put the podcast on.
Party, just put it on loop. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe to us on your podcast platform, and if you can, give us a review, because it means the world to us, or send us an email via our website, because that also means the world to us. But yeah, say hello, send us a message, and recommend us some books to read. Big virtual hugs, and we'll see you next time. Bye.